Okay, so, all right, got a couple more people jumping on. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. If you happen to miss any of this, it is being recorded and we have been uploading them to YouTube pretty quickly after the call's over. So just be on the lookout for that. So to get started, I'll begin with talking about the ASR. We still have that ongoing issue for you power school districts on the call. In some cases, we're not getting a proper response when we're requesting for transportation. Now, this is for everyone. We are sending requests out to your student information system, asking for your system to send up to us the student transportation statuses as of March 12th, 2020. So if your student information system can't respond to that type of request, then we're not going to be sent transportation properly and you'll have some issues on the report because in most cases, either it just kind of ignores our request, so it doesn't send us any transportation, or we are being sent still the full year's worth of transportation information. So those are the two things kind of going on with transportation. The issue that we had yesterday, where for those of you who have reached out to us specifically and you knew that your system was sending up to the state the correct transportation, you just couldn't see it on the report. Many of you have already reached out to you and let you know that that has been corrected. But for those of you who hadn't reached out to us and we're kind of seeing odd transportation numbers, just know that that issue has been corrected. So you can take a look back at the report, make sure your students' transportation numbers are looking correct. For transportation, we aren't doing any sort of special calculation like we are doing for membership and attendance. For transportation, we are taking the number straight as your vendor is sending it to us. So if we're getting a wrong number, most likely it's because of the response we got when we requested for transportation. We can request anytime during the week. Right now, we are only really requesting on Saturdays, but a mass request has gone out on Tuesday for a handful of districts. So you might have noticed in the middle of the week, your transportation numbers might have updated. So that is it for the ASR. Still keep letting us know if you're having issues with not just transportation, but if you're having issues with your calendars or attendance or you're missing students, let us know. We've been getting these kind of one-off issues corrected pretty quickly. So the earlier we know about it, the better off some of you can be. Last I heard, we had about 8 districts that have this report certified, so yay on that. Keep doing what you guys are doing on the ASR and we'll help out as we can. I just wanted to plug our Teams channel. Again, for those of you who hadn't joined, we're using this channel, this Microsoft Teams channel to collaborate with school districts. We've got some state aid staff from OSD on that channel too. So if you're having questions that maybe doesn't warrant sending a whole email and you wanted to get a quick response, definitely this team has been really great. You can also call us if you need.
Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, good.
If you need to speak with us pretty quickly, since we're not in the office, calling our office phones won't get you to a person. We are getting those voicemails, and in some cases we are calling you back, but using Teams would be a quicker way to get a hold of us, or if you just have a quick IM that you want to send to us, you can do that there too. So it's been a great resource so far. We've also been posting all of the announcements that you can see on the WAVES homepage in that Teams channel. So you kind of, if you happen to be on Teams at the time, you'll get a notification as soon as it gets posted to let you know that any of the issues that get posted on the homepage under those state notes, when they're finished or resolved, or if we have an update, anything goes. So definitely, if you want to join that team, use the chat, give us your name and your email, your school email, and we'll get you added. If you are already added and you are thinking of some other people who this might be a good resource for them, we do have a form on the WAVES homepage where they can request to be added there as well. So no pressure if you're thinking about it now. All right, so that's that for Teams collaboration. So I'm going to give, let Aaron speak up here about the validation of the week.
Thank you. So the validations that we're looking at this week account for about 1,000 errors across the state, and they aren't really compiled at any particular district. They seem pretty spread out, and we thought that this would be two good errors to look at since they do deal with your calendar, and that's going to be affecting your ASR currently. The first one we're going to look at is the daily instructional minutes is invalid. And the majority of these errors are due to a holiday or non-instructional day being marked as instructional. And so typically what this error checks for is to make sure that your daily instructional minutes for any particular day is a positive number, usually between 0 and 720 minutes for your instructional day. However, if you have a holiday or a weekend or something like that that is marked as instructional in error, you have a correct amount of minutes of 0 on the holiday or weekend, but it being marked as instructional makes those two elements disagree. And in this case, this is the error that's thrown. We're working on new validations that give better descriptions at each part of the process of what's being checked. But right now, if you are getting this error, typically what's happening is you have a day that should not be marked as instructional, marked as instructional. Outside of that though, if it is an instructional day, your minutes are most likely 0 on that instructional day. So those are your two things to watch out for. So non-instructional day being marked as instructional, or if it is legitimately an instructional day, it most likely has a minutes of 0. The other error we're going to take a look at is the calendar date type other code is invalid. And I know that's kind of not necessarily fantastic as far as an error description. But the calendar date type other code, we should only be receiving that, or we're only checking that, and we should only be receiving that, yeah, for teacher only days, ones that are coded with the code 0845, and we should only be getting that for those days. And so the majority of these errors are due to receiving that when it is not a teacher only day. So in this case, this one may not be something that you'll be able to address on your end. I'm not sure if this is something that can actually be set within your student information system on days that aren't professional days. If it is, that'll be something that you can address on your own. If not, this might be something that you need to reach out to your vendor to get a good direction on how to address it. But both of these, with being about 1,000 errors across the state, are probably affecting a decent chunk of districts and their ASR, and that could be where some of your potential errors and misalignments with some numbers are coming from. But
I'm gonna jump in here, Aaron.
Wait for now.
We should only be receiving 01 or 02 if we're receiving the calendar date type code of 0845. Everything else should be in A.
Right.
So we should receive a code regardless of what the calendar date.
Right, I didn't explain that very well. I apologize. So the other day should be in A because it doesn't apply. Absolutely.
Thank you, Erin. So we'll keep doing this every week. As long as there's an error that we're seeing that, like Erin said, is either relevant to a report or we're just seeing it popping for a lot of districts. And sometimes, like you said, our validation descriptions aren't really helpful. So hopefully this will be good for you guys going forward. Might help you guys out. So with that, questions. So if you have a question, feel free to speak up, use the chat. If you don't have a question, if your ASR is going great, that's also awesome to know. And
I
I'll
want
stop.
to jump in here again and prepare everyone for the potential of the post-secondary opportunities report being required. It's still being discussed with accountability in our legal department, whether or not it needs to be required, that it is required or not. Whether we require it or not, or if we do require it, it will be a it will not be something to stress over. It'll just be the best we can do. So many of the reports that are coming due are still going to be required because of federal mandates. There's only a few that are going to get waived, such as TLE, RSA, things like that. But most of the things that we always do across all the different departments and sections of a school district and state department are still going to be due.
And that list will be shared to all the districts as soon as everything's finalized with legal.
Correct. Thank you.
I'll go ahead and stop the recording now and continue to wait.